Namaskar. The topic of discussion is on giant submarine canyons. Continents and oceans are the two first order relief features of the world. Continents are bordered by the seas and oceans. Beaches form the interface between the land and the water. The coastline is the boundary between continental and oceanic masses. The ocean floor has an uneven topography. The surface beneath the oceanic waters is characterized by a lot of diversified relief features. The structure, configuration and relief features of the oceans also vary from one ocean to the other. On the basis of bathymetric studies, the morphology of ocean basins has been found to include two major parts as continental margins and deep ocean basins. The continental margins encompass the continental shelf and the continental slope. The deep ocean basins encompass the abyssal plains, abyssal hills, oceanic trenches and the mid-oceanic ridges. The continental shelf is the first morphological unit of the oceans located adjacent to the coastline. It is an extension of the land beneath the oceanic waters. The width of the continental shelf ranges from 60 to more than 1500 kilometers. The depth of the water column of this region may go up to 150 meters. At present, continental shelf comprises 6% of the earth's total surface area. 70% of the continental shelves are covered with thick deposits of silt, sand and mud and sediments derived from the land. The continental slope begins at the outer edge of the continental shelf. The topographic slope is much steeper than the shelf. It plunges down to a depth of 4 kilometers. The width may range from 20 to 100 kilometers. The slope may range from 5 degrees to more than 60 degrees. The boundary of the continental shelf on the ocean side is determined by an abrupt change in the slope and a rapid increase in depth. This particular portion is called as the continental shelf break. In this episode, the following aspects are explained: the land beneath the oceans, the submarine canyons, the characteristics of submarine canyons, the origin and types of submarine canyons and the distribution of submarine canyons. Let us see the first one, the land beneath the oceans. New technologies and the development of highly maneuverable submersible crafts have allowed scientists to go down to explore the deep oceans of the world. The continental margin represents the edge of continents under the sea or the ocean. The coastal plain is the first part of the water's edge. It includes the beaches mainly covered by unconsolidated sediments. These are subjected to wave energy that moves these sediments by converging on the headlands. The second one is the inner and outer continental shelf. It is about 70 kilometers wide, bordering the continent topography. It generally resembles that of the coastal plain. It has a gentle slope of about 0.1 degree, that is roughly about 1.9 meters per kilometer. Sediments are transported across this shelf by the oceanic currents. The final part is the deep ocean basin. The schematic profile of an ocean basin shows the following 10 features. Number 1, the submarine volcanoes. Number 2, sea mounts that are isolated submarine hills with steep sides, volcano shaped more than 1 kilometer in relief. Third one is the mid ocean rises and ridges. Then comes the abyssal plains, then comes the knolls or abyssal hills, then comes the oceanic trenches, then comes the island arcs, then comes the oceanic fracture zones in the oceans, which are generally east-west oriented. They extend several thousand kilometers across the major oceans. The ninth one is the guyards or flat topped sea mounts. These are eroded sea mounts during exposure at the surface. They are more than 1 kilometer in relief. The last one is the atolls which are present. The continental shelves are very significant zones for human and marine life. These zones are known for their mineral deposits and for the occurrence of oil and natural gas. The continental shelf and slope constitute the continental margins. Submarine canyons are cutting across the continental margins and act as feeders to the deep oceans.